Welcome back to Podiatry Marketing. I'm your host, Jim McDaniel, joined as always with my trusty co-host, Tyson Franklin. Tyson, what's going on today?
Good morning, Big Jim. I'm in the tropics, which means we're heading into some of the best weather we're ever going to get. As we head into, like we're in autumn now, into winter, it's just amazing. And you probably find in the States, like Florida or those sort of places, probably experience the same sort of thing when they have their winter. It's like a glorious time to be there because you don't get the humidity. Still get warm days though, which is nice. So love this time of year. And it's also football season and my team's doing okay. So it's can't complain. Life is good.
What's the name of your football team?
Sydney Roosters,
Okay.
everyone's favourite team to hate. It is one of those teams that you either love the Roosters or you hate the Roosters. There's not much in between. Not many people go, oh yeah, I don't mind the Roosters. Yeah,
Yeah.
sort of. Bit like it's probably like the in NFL, probably be like the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah. Or Dallas Cowboys. I'd say the Dallas
Yeah,
Cowboys are kind of the team that people either they love it way too much or they just hate the team. So
yeah. So the Roosters are pretty much the same, but football in Australia is pretty much like that. Like in Brisbane, they have the Brisbane Drongos, or they're called the Broncos, but I call them the Drongos. And yeah, the Broncos supporters are just, their blinkers on. They just think their team's awesome. And I didn't mind the Broncos when they first started, but then they sacked the king, who was like Wally Lewis, one of the best players ever. They sacked him, and no, they were done for me. But I've always been a Roosters fan, so I mean, and tradition to me, you don't switch teams. You can have another team that you like, but to me, you stick with what's in your blood.
no, I totally hear. I've been a Chicago Cubs fan my entire life, and that's the one team I always stick with in baseball. So
And I like to hear that too, when you'll hear someone who they'll support a team or they'll support something, whether it's not even sport related, and they're doing terrible. They're doing awful. They've been awful for decades, and they just stick with it. They don't jump ship. They just stick with it. And I think there's a lot of correlation between those sort of people and whether it's your business, whether it's marketing and those sort of things, is just you're in there for the long haul. You know that it's going to all come together eventually.
there was a period of time and I wasn't sure whether it would come together for the Cubs, but it did back in 2016. So I've got no complaints.
Okay, so we should get on to today's subject.
Yeah. So what are we going to jump into today?
Today we're going to talk about social media posts that are shared the most, because a lot of podiatrists are they're usually following what other podiatrists are doing. And they don't realize that just because someone's posting another photo of how to do an ankle stretch that 42 people liked and 39 of them were other podiatrists, that maybe they're not the best post to sort of engage with your patients. So I want to run through a list of posts. This is from a talk that I've done a while ago about social media and podiatry. This topic I've spoken to some of my coaching clients as well, a little bit more depth. But I just want to run through the common posts that sort of will get shared by your patients. And that's what you're after. You want patients to see what you've posted and go, I want to share that with my friends. And by them sharing it, then automatically it just exposes you to a whole new group of people. Plus, places like Facebook, Instagram, when they know people are sharing things, they go, oh, there must be something good here. They start showing it to more people. So I think it's important to understand. First one. Oh, you can ask that question.
No, I was just going to say, I totally agree. If you're just kind of like putting up boring, cookie cutter content that doesn't really connect with other people and it's very self-promotional, it's really not going to go anywhere. It's going to get, your staff and maybe a family member is going to click the like button, but that's as far as it's going to go. And it really won't have any reach. So yeah, I'm excited to hear the types of posts you think will do well for podiatry clinics.
Okay, the first one is Amusement. A post that, whether it's on your podiatry page, you're able to look at what sort of posts come through that you see it and you find it amusing. It could be an image, it could be a meme, it might be a joke, that you will see that and you'll actually share it. So I shared one not too long ago, and it was a short video, and it was a girl having a piece of string, and all of a sudden, with her tongue, she tied it into a knot. And my wife saw that, and she thought, oh, yeah, she was wondering, why did I have that on my Facebook page? But then I said, keep watching the video. Don't jump to conclusions. And then all of a sudden I had this old woman and she has a piece of string. She puts a string back with her mouth. And also she pulls out this whole big crocheted, like napkin type thing. And my wife just cracked up laughing. She said, I've got to share that. And to me, straight away, that drove that point home, that I shared it from somewhere else because I thought it was amusing. I thought it was funny. And then as soon as my wife saw it, her immediate reaction to me is, I'm going to share that. And I've posted some things in the Podiatry Business Owners Club on my personal page, and I've had people comment and just say, I'm going to screenshot that and share it. That's when it's in the Podiatry Business Owners Club. But even on my own page, I just go, I'm going, and they tell me I'm going to share that because it was funny. So that's the first thing. If it's amusing, very inclined for patients to share it as well.
No, absolutely. Anything that sparks that kind of interest where people are like, it makes them smile, makes them laugh. They're much more likely to want to spread it to other people.
Yeah. The second thing that is very popular, that is often shared, are quotes. If you find a good quote that when you see it, you go, wow, yeah, that really resonates with me, you'll know. You post it on your personal page and you'll see how many people like it. You'll see how many people share it. I know probably the most engagement I get in the Podiatry Business Owners Club are quotes. When I post a quote, they probably get more people click on that and comment than anything else. So if you have a page for your podiatry clinic and there's some quotes that inspire you, you might have, it might be Monday, might be quote day. You do a quote every Monday. Your patients will get used to that quote coming out. And if they're good quotes, you'll see which patients engage with it. They've got more chance of them sharing a really good quote than you do of them sharing a photo of a bunion. Just a wild guess, I reckon.
No, I totally agree. They're not, or of a diabetic wound or something. I think there's, some of these quotes that are shared, they're kind of, they distill ideas and like you mentioned, they kind of connect with people in ways that helps distill down these interesting ideas or concepts. And like I like Mark Twain is probably my favorite. And whenever I see a Mark Twain quote online,
Yeah.
I stop and read it because it's you're always going to distill a little bit of wisdom in there. So yeah, definitely. I enjoy as long as it's not too much on the kind of the motivational side. I see a lot
Yeah.
of people kind of, it's a picture of them with like a motivational quote, but just kind of like I'm not so much into that. But definitely, if something's more uh, like the Mark Twain stuff, I'm definitely into it.
Yeah. I saw a funny quote once in the head. People that quote themselves are dicks, quoted by them. And that just absolutely cracked me up. I thought that was really, really funny. But Mark Twain, isn't one of his quotes, there's two types of speakers, those that get nervous and liars?
I think so. Yeah,
I
that's
think
one
that
of
was
them.
it. But, and I know this is a quote that whenever anyone says to me, oh, what's your favorite quote? The first quote that pops into my head is people with integrity expect to be believed. And if not, they let time prove them right. And I heard that quote, oh, geez, in the early 90s, and it just stuck with me. So people are looking for those types of quotes that when they see a quote, you can put 100 quotes there, they'll guarantee you'll probably get so many people will like those quotes over a lot of other things. But when you hit on just that right one, and I did one a few weeks ago, and I can just tell as soon as on there, the amount of people that commented on it, you just knew that, yeah. And it can be, well, whatever's happening in the world at the time as well.
For sure.
The next one is inspirational stories. So if you can just share a short story, I do this and used to do this on in my Facebook page when I had the podiatry clinic, but in the group now as well. If I share a story of a female runner that was the first woman to do such and such, or a guy that was the first person to do this, and you share some of those stories, people love seeing success stories of other people because it motivates them, I think, in their own life.
I think we talked about this maybe in a previous podcast, but kind of the art of storytelling and understanding how to write a good story is, it can really help you connect with people in ways that, if you kind of know that there's that kind of build up, there's kind of some conflict, and then there's resolution at the end of it. If you
Yeah.
can kind of create a story like that, it's going to resonate with a lot more people instead of just throwing facts or throwing sentences out at people. So, learning some basic storytelling and writing some inspirational stories about patients or just, people that are inspirational in any way definitely can be a benefit to your marketing and to your clinic.
Yeah, but I remember even when I used to just, yeah, about the storytelling, if I was talking to a patient and somebody come up and all of a sudden I would share a story when I got attacked by a shark on my surfboard. Everybody, when you even mention that you're on a surfboard and you got attacked by a shark, everybody straight away pays attention.
Right.
And I'll tell you a story some other time. But it was my third one. That's why I gave up surfing. Uh, but but it is. But sometimes I will see somebody else has written a story that is fantastic. I'll just share their story. So I'll they share their story onto my pages, and then from there, people will like it and share it. So, okay, you may not necessarily get the credit, but you'll understand if you share somebody else's story first that they've written, see what's the impact that has, and then go, okay, what's a story I know? And it might just be a patient. Hey, we had this patient that came in that, yeah, that wanted to do this but wasn't able to anymore. They wanted to do this in the future but couldn't. We helped them out and now they're able to do this. That is still a story. And you won't, we're not going to mention the patient name. You're not going to have a photo of the patient, but you could have a photo that relates to that. That's still sharing a story.
Yeah, I think you put the word in there, those, that really connects is that making it relatable, right?
Mm.
When people can see themselves in the story a little bit, or might have a general idea of what that feels like. It doesn't have, like you said, it doesn't have to be name a person, those things. It's just kind of a generalized story about, a treatment path or the way that someone lived their life. When it's relatable, people will really connect to it.
Yeah, and so what everyone's got to remember as we're going through this list, just remember these are posts that are shared the most. So it's not in any specific order. So the fourth one, I think I've got this number 1, 2, 3. Yep, the fourth one
You can
is
count.
yeah, I haven't got a number. It's got a list. Is your opinion. Share your opinion on certain things. If you have a strong opinion on something, I always say never give your opinion on politics or religion or anything that's majorly happening in the world. But if you've got an opinion on something else, you share it. Share what you think, put a photo with it, and if people agree with it, they're going to share it on their pages as well. So the next one, and this one's is really popular, is advice, hints, tips, how to do something. 5 ways to do whatever it is. Because even though the patient may see that, and that may not relate to them, but they might have a friend or a family member, and it does. And I've seen this on a lot of advice posts. Someone will post something, and then underneath the person will just type someone's name. Very embarrassing if it's for herpes or something like that. But it's
Hopefully not.
herpes. Yeah, advice on how to get rid of your herpes, and they type your name underneath. But I have seen a post, and my wife does it to me all the time. When she'll see a post, she doesn't share it, but she will put my name in underneath, because then it'll pop up on either my timeline or I'll get a message to say my name's been mentioned. I will then go and have a look at it and I read through, and then her and I will talk about it. So I think that's a really good one as well.
I think the opinions and advice perspective, when you're posting about those things, not only are you providing kind of helpful information that may, improve somebody's life or, improve maybe some symptoms of something you're struggling with, it also positions you as an expert. When you're out there talking about maybe a specific type of surgery or the way you treat a certain condition or some of the problems you see when people are doing certain activities, it just, if it's in the kind of the realm of the area of practice that you want to be seen as that expert by, putting it out there on either your social media channels or getting it out there on your blog or on your website, it just helps reinforce that you are that local expert when you're sharing your opinion, you're giving helpful advice to people.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. And to keep us moving along, the next thing is special offers, which is, sometimes people will have, they'll be doing something in their business. They have an offer that they're giving to patients and they're telling them about it. To me, that is something you want to share in your posts as well, because, and the best offers are ones that don't just relate to your existing patients. It's an offer that a patient will see it and go, oh, my friends over here, I think would be very interested in that. And they're more than likely to share it. I won't get into what the offers should be, but special offers is one of the other things. One that was really successful for us were contests. We used to do a few different contests where if somebody took for example, we had, where are your feet taking you this holiday? and people would take a photo of wherever their feet were over. It was during an Easter break, and they had to take a photo of their feet, what they were doing, and then send it to us, and we would post it on our page, or they could post it and then just tag us into it. And I remember the winning photo was one where there was a foot there crossed over. There was a glass of red wine sitting between the toes, and in the backyard you could see a vineyard. So obviously they're drinking red wine in a vineyard, and then what we did is we took all those photos, we picked the best 5, and then we reposted them again, and we got our patients to vote on which one they thought was the best. Yeah, so we picked the top 5, then let the patients do the rest, and then the patients were all voted on who they thought was the best one, and then that was the winner chicken dinner. That's how
Yeah,
they got it.
that can lead to a lot of engagement, right? When you have people visiting your page to vote and then just, liking things or, voting in the poll that gets spread more, especially, it can be sometimes difficult to get organic reach on some of these social channels, but when you have something that engages people and they take action on those pages, then the algorithms start kicking in and are more willing to show those types of posts.
Well, I think most podiatrists listening to this podcast would be part of some page or group on Facebook within podiatry. And you have a look at some of the things that people are posting and all that, and just have a look at the engagement within the group on some of those posts. It'll give you a rough idea. By the time I finish this list, next time, as posts are coming through and you see which ones have got 95 comments and 146 likes, there'll be one of these things that we're talking about. There'll be something that somebody has posted that everyone just dives in with, especially like if someone's given an opinion in podiatry, everybody else, there's a few people out there who have a lot of opinions, who are always prepared to give it. We all know who you are too. So don't think that you're hiding in the shadows. We know who you are. We all talk about you behind your back. Oh, Jim does. I don't.
No, I'm a horrible person. What can I say?
Yeah, you're just mean and nasty. And okay, the next thing, I said contests, warnings. Warnings are also a really good one. If you know, especially like if there was a shoe, I remember many years ago, because I was involved in Cairns basketball up here, and we did this was before the Tyburns were in, so back when they had the Marlins, just the state league. We see all the basketball players, and this new shoe came out. I'm not sure if it was a New Balance or Adidas, and it was a basketball shoe. But the way that it designed, all of a sudden, it was creating a lot of fractures in the 5th met. It was just, I think there were new shoe came out. They were sponsored by this shoe supplier. Everybody in the team was wearing them. And within the first 4 weeks, there were 3 5th met fractures. And we'll go, oh, that's interesting. We're talking to the physio. And then the physio said, hey, I've been talking to some other clubs who are using the same shoe. They've had the same thing. They've had 2 or 3 players that have a 5th met fracture. So then we started doing a little bit of research on it. We're finding out it was a fault. It wasn't the shoe was faulty. It was a fault in the design, was putting more pressure in that area. So they end up eventually they got rid of that shoe. But if you knew that was happening and you put a warning out to your patients, hey, if you're thinking about this shoe, this is what's happening. There's a high percentage of you getting a fracture. Or if you already got this shoe, if this is happening, and there were certain foot types it was happening to as well, then you should try and avoid it. Now, if you did a post like that these days, that would get shared so fast because the world loves helping everybody. Even though we love drama and if there's a car crash, you can't help it not. Don't look, but you got to look. So when there's something bad happening, people like to actually give everybody else a warning. So if you come across anything like that can be podiatry related, jump on it as fast as you can. And don't just share it once, share it multiple times. And you'll find your patients they'll just share it as well. They won't even think about it.
No, I like that. I think it's helpful, like you said, if there's something bad that's going on, kind of being that voice of reason or helping spread the word about it can be really helpful.
The next one is things that make you go, wow. And what relates to in UFC 300, which was a fantastic event. UFC means the Ultimate Fighting Championships, if people don't realize. But in the UFC 300, they were interviewing Dana White. And somebody said, people always ask me, Dana, what do you do? And he's the president of the company. And he said, my job really comes down to creating holy shit moments. He said, that's all I'm trying to do is create an event that when by the time the event's finished, everyone's just gone, wow, that was amazing. And I think in some of our posts, we can do the same thing. Try and think of things that when a patient reads that, or they look at that photo, or they look at that video, they go, wow. And that's what Pimple Poppers does. That's what some of those gory, chopping off big horny toenails and some of the ingrown toenails and all that sort of stuff. The reason they do well is because people look at it and go, one, they go, wow, and they go, oh, at the same time. There's a bit of a, but they're the things that, and when people see that, they share it with everybody. I don't think there'd be a person listening to this podcast or anybody I know that does not know about Pimple Poppers. Do you know who they're?
Yeah, or there's the toe bro as well. So
Yeah. I wasn't going to give him a mention.
it's a podiatry podcast. I mean,
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. So the toe bro is a perfect example. He does all the ingrown toenail stuff. I can't believe how many subscribers he has. But it just lets you know people like seeing that stuff.
Yep.
And then the last one they've got here is just news. Anything that's newsworthy, whether it might be, if it's like main news, people have probably seen it already. But what is some other news that people aren't seeing in the mainstream news that you've come across that you think, oh, this is worth sharing because if it's interesting, affects your patients, maybe affects the community, they're more than likely to share it with people to sort of keep them informed.
I see a lot of this with athlete injuries. If someone
Yeah.
has like a Liz Frank injury or a high ankle sprain, I think the Aaron Rodgers, the quarterback in the United States for the New York Jets, tore his Achilles, and like a bunch of other orthopedic surgeons and podiatrists jumped in to talk about the way that he was having his Achilles repaired. It also happened like the president of the United States has been wearing some like athletic like black running shoes instead of like dress shoes recently. So some podiatrists have jumped on to say the president's wearing these Hoka or tennis shoes instead of regular shoes.
Yeah.
So there's people who do this kind of news jacking or try to associate themselves with some popular story that's kind of foot and ankle related in the news.
No, but it's a smart move. Yeah, you see something like you said, the president, and you notice something. Not that he's the conspiracy theorists will tell you he's an impersonator. Joe Biden died ages ago because his ears are different. That's just what I've heard. I would never post that. Don't post conspiracy theories because there's certain things you shouldn't post.
For sure.
Anything that really polarizes people. And that's why I mentioned at the beginning, politics, religion, that type of stuff where it's going to be 50-50 down the line. And I've seen friendships break up. I've seen working relationships break up where one health practitioner had just jumped on the bandwagon about a particular political party and has pretty much told everybody else, you are an idiot if you vote for the opposition. And when I saw that, I went, oh, I vote for the opposition, but that's all right. I know you're not talking to me. But I'm thinking, I'm sure 50% of your patients vote for the opposition. And it wasn't long after that person didn't actually have a business anymore. It just slowly went down because they it wasn't just that one. They constantly kept putting their opinion out on politics, religion, anything that was happening in the world war-wise. And I'm just going, you're just crazy. So what it comes down to in the end is what is your goal that you're trying to achieve? And I've got 4 things written down here. One is you're trying to influence your patients. You're trying to inform your patients. You're trying to assist them, or you're trying to connect with them. So just think about when you're doing a post, what is it you're trying to influence? I'm not saying in a bad way, influence them to do something, to make a decision, to call your clinic. The informing part is to keep them educated in what's actually happening. The assisting part, helping them, once again, make a decision. Helping them, giving them advice, things that are going to make their life better. But also, social media is all about being social. It's about connecting with people. And that's why I say your Facebook pages or Instagram, whatever you're doing, it doesn't have to be all podiatry related. You can put stuff in there that is non-podiatry related if you think your patients are going to enjoy it and possibly share it.
No, totally. I think it can be helpful to, you got to find those ways to connect with your patients and, you know, get on the same level with them.
Okay, Jim, I'm done on that subject. Like I said this was going to be a short one. It wasn't short, was it? Once you get going.
Yeah, well, I think it was a good one. I think we touched on some really, really important stuff, and I think it'll be helpful for the practitioners that listen to the podcast to implement some of these things on their social media, their websites, and their blog. And yeah, I think it was a good topic today.
Yeah, and if you only do some of them, that's great. If you only want to post amusing things or quotes, you might even pick from that list 2 or 3 things that's what you're going to drive home. Just get really good at doing that, and then throw in the odd podiatry thing in between.
For sure.
Okay, Jim, I look forward to talking again next week.
Sounds great, Tyson.
Okay, adios.
Bye now.